Watch the canopy, there, right? There, see that tiny speck? That's not a bird, folks. That's an F-22 Raptor, screaming through the sky at 300 knots, barely 200 feet off the deck. And just like that, it's yanking a 9G turn so aggressively, so violently, that the very air behind it seems to ripple, to tear. One heartbeat later, he's not just upside down. His nose is 60 degrees past the vertical, still clawing for altitude. You might think, no way, that has to be CGI, right? But here's the kicker. That's just Tuesday at Red Flag, the world's most intense air combat exercise. And the tape you're about to see? It's going to make your stomach drop faster than an altimeter in a vertical dive. Get ready. Military pilots, those incredible men and women who strap themselves into millions of dollars worth of pure adrenaline, they speak a quiet, almost secret language. It's a dialect of angles, of G-forces, of milliseconds, and the razor-thin margins between success and catastrophic failure. Today we're going to translate that language for you into plain English, with the raw, unadulterated footage to back up every single claim. There's no filler here, no recycled stock clips you've already scrolled past a dozen times. Every single sequence you'll witness was captured during real training evolutions or live operations, pushing the boundaries of what's physically possible for both machine and human. Most of it has been declassified within weeks, some of it, astonishingly, within mere hours of being flown. We're not just showing you cool explosions. We're going to break down exactly what's happening, why each microsecond decision matters, and just how close each jet is to its absolute physical and aerodynamic limit. By the time we're done, you won't just think a high G barrel roll at 600 miles per hour is a cool trick. You'll understand it's often the difference between coming home on your own wheels or under a silk parachute, a very lonely descent to enemy territory. This isn't just about speed and spectacle. It's about survival. Let's kick things off with a number that nobody, absolutely nobody, forgets once they've felt it. 9. 9 times the force of gravity. Imagine that for a second. At that kind of load, your perfectly normal 20-pound flight helmet suddenly weighs a crushing 180 pounds. It's like someone stacked a grown man on your head, right in the middle of a fight. Your lungs? They feel like they're being dragged down into your ribcage, struggling to expand. Your peripheral vision, that crucial awareness of everything around you, collapses into a dark gray tunnel, a terrifying sensation known as tunnel vision or G-induced loss of vision. And the blood in your arms and legs? It feels like wet cement, heavy, sluggish, almost impossible to move. This isn't a theoretical exercise. This is what happens in the cockpit. The Swedish Gripen pilot you're watching right now just sustained that incredible force for 8 full, grueling seconds, all while defending against a simulated missile shot. Take a close look at the camera mounted inside the cockpit. Notice how it vibrates, almost shimmers? Those aren't bumps of turbulence or a shaky mount. That's the pilot's neck muscles, spasming and straining against the immense G-forces, fighting to keep his head upright, fighting to keep the pipper, his targeting reticle, locked onto the bandit. He's grunting, he's straining, he's performing the anti-G straining maneuver, AGSM, with every fiber of his being, trying to force blood back to his brain. It's a raw, primal struggle, and he wins. He wins the engagement with a single last-ditch high-speed yo-yo, a classic maneuver where he trades precious kinetic energy for a snapshot, a sudden, decisive shot that the aggressor never, ever saw coming. 9 Gs, 8 seconds, 1 breath, 1 victory. Welcome to the club most people only ever visit in a centrifuge, safely on the ground. This isn't just flying. It's an extreme sport where the stakes are life and death, and the human body is pushed to its absolute breaking point every single time. It's a testament to human endurance, training, and the sheer will to survive and dominate. If you want to know where the best pilots in the world go to get even better, where good enough is a death sentence, you look to the Nevada desert. Twice a year, that seemingly barren landscape transforms into the most hostile, most complex, and frankly, most terrifying sky on the planet. We're talking about Red Flag. Red Flag 24-2 just wrapped up last month, and already the clips are leaking out, giving us a glimpse into the crucible where modern air combat is forged. Imagine this, 49 aircraft all flying in a single massive dogfight. We're talking 4 generations of fighters, from legacy jets to the most advanced stealth platforms, all trying to kill each other. Virtually, of course, before the sun even hits the mountains, the aggressors, those formidable pilots flying F-16s painted in menacing Russian-style pixel flanker camo, aren't just there to look cool. They're flown by the absolute elite, pilots who have meticulously studied every foreign manual the Pentagon could get its hands on. Their sole job is brutally simple: make the good guys bleed early, expose their weaknesses, and force them to adapt or die. They fly enemy tactics, employ enemy doctrine, and mimic the flight characteristics of potential adversaries. It's a masterclass in asymmetric warfare, designed to break complacency. In this particular shot, an F-35A driver, probably feeling pretty confident in his fifth-generation machine, suddenly finds himself cornered, caught in a classic pincer movement by two aggressive F-16s at the merge. The merge, for the uninitiated, is that chaotic moment when two aircraft transition from beyond visual range combat to a close-quarters knife fight. It's where the physics meet the pilot's raw skill. With no time to spare, our F-35 pilot does something incredible. He snaps the jet to 50 degrees angle of attack, a defiant, almost impossible maneuver that bleeds off speed, but allows for incredible instantaneous turn rates. He pedals the jet around the lead bandit, using every ounce of thrust vectoring and aerodynamic wizardry his F-35 possesses. In under 6 seconds, he reverses the fight. The maneuver bleeds so much speed from his own jet that the second bandit, over-eager and pushing too hard, overshoots. Canopy to canopy they pass, close enough to read the other pilot's name patch, to see the whites of their eyes. One quick simulated burst of gunfire, a digital kill tone, and both red aircraft are dead. They're out of the fight. That kind of high stakes, close-quarters knife fight is exactly why red flag exists. Because the first time you encounter that level of chaos, that kind of relentless, skilled adversary, should never, ever be over enemy territory. It should be in the simulated yet utterly realistic battlefields of Nevada. Red flag isn't just an exercise. It's a rite of passage, a proving ground where pilots learn to survive and thrive when everything is on the line. It's where instincts are honed, tactics are refined, and legends are born. They debrief every single engagement, frame by frame, decision by decision, dissecting what went right, what went wrong, and how to ensure next time they come out on top. It's a relentless pursuit of perfection, because in real combat there are no second chances. Forget those pristine, polished runways you see at major air bases. When the balloons go up, when conflict truly ignites, those long, beautiful strips of asphalt are often the first targets to be cratered, bombed into unusable rubble. That's why exercises like NATO's Ramstein 1v1, which we mentioned earlier, and other distributed operations training, are so incredibly vital. They proved unequivocally that modern fighters can turn any straight stretch of asphalt, like a civilian autobahn, into a launch pad, a recovery strip, a forward operating base. Watch this Eurofighter Typhoon, a marvel of European engineering, drop into its final approach at a blistering 160 knots. But instead of a runway, it's aiming for a highway. The pilot hooks the arrestor cable, specially laid across the autobahn for this exercise, and comes to a screeching but perfectly controlled halt in a mere 600 feet. That's shorter than 2 football fields, stopping a jet moving at nearly 180 miles per hour. The precision required is mind-boggling. Then almost casually the pilot lowers the nose, taxis directly under an overpass. Yes, an overpass. And refuels from a truck that's been cleverly disguised as a civilian tanker. This isn't just a stunt. It's a critical strategic capability. The lesson here is stark and undeniable. If war moves into regions like the Baltics, where air superiority is paramount, traditional air bases will likely be neutralized in the very first hour of conflict. Pilots who possess the skills and the aircraft that possess the robust design to land, rearm, refuel, and relaunch from a simple road surface, they don't just add flexibility. They effectively buy alliance forces and extra squadrons worth of sorties per day. That's a massive force multiplier, turning potential vulnerability into a significant advantage. Listen closely to the cockpit audio in these clips. It's mostly just breathing. There's no casual chatter, no idle banter. Why? Because at 40 feet of wingspan and a mere 28 feet of road width, every single twitch of the aileron, every micro adjustment of the rudder, risks leaving expensive paint on the guardrail. Or worse, the margins are literally zero. This isn't just about flying. It's about absolute mastery of the machine in the most unforgiving environments, transforming a civilian highway into a lifeline in a war zone. It's about adapting, innovating, and ensuring that no matter what the enemy throws at you, the fight can and will continue. It redefines what an airbase truly is. Now prepare to have your mind bent, because what you're about to see is an F-22 Raptor doing things that Isaac Newton, bless his heart, would absolutely swear break his fundamental laws of physics. The sequence starts off routine enough. 500 knots, cruising at 30,000 feet, just another day in the office. But then suddenly the pilot pulls back on the stick hard, and that's where the magic, or rather the incredibly advanced engineering, kicks in. The F-22's nozzles, instead of pointing straight back, vector upwards, redirecting its immense thrust. In an instant, the jet trades a staggering 400 knots of airspeed for a near-vertical climb, rocketing skyward like a missile. At the very apex of this climb, where the air is so thin that conventional control surfaces are barely effective, where most jets would simply tumble out of control, the F-22 performs a gravity-defying tail slide. It literally falls tail first for 1,000 feet, a maneuver that seems utterly impossible for a multi-ton aircraft. But just as it seems destined to crash, the pilot vectors thrust down, pitches the nose over, and rolls into a loaded turn, perfectly controlled, perfectly executed. The entire ballet, this incredible aerial gymnastics routine, happens in less than 10 seconds. To an enemy radar operator, this looks like pure witchcraft. One moment, the target is there, a blip on the screen. The next, it seems to vanish, only to reappear 10 degrees off its original track, already nose on for a missile shot. That's not just aerodynamics at play. That's 70,000 pounds of thrust, from 2 Pratt & Whitney F-119 engines, routed through sophisticated software, written by brilliant engineers and, let's be honest, probably a few kids who grew up dominating flight sims. This isn't just about moving the aircraft. It's about manipulating its momentum, its energy state, in ways that completely confuse and confound an adversary. Thrust vectoring isn't just for showing off at air shows. It's a game changer in a dogfight. It allows the F-22 to maintain control at angles of attack that would send any other conventional fighter spiraling out of control. It enables maneuvers like the Pugachev's Cobra or the Herbst maneuver, where the aircraft briefly pitches up to an extreme angle, presenting its belly to an enemy, only to quickly recover, changing its energy state and position dramatically. This ability to instantly change direction, to effectively point the nose of the aircraft independently of its flight path, gives the Raptor an unparalleled advantage, turning an engagement into a deadly, unpredictable dance where the F-22 always seems to be one step ahead. It's truly a peek into the future of air combat, where the laws of physics are bent, if not broken, by sheer technological prowess and pilot skill. We often talk about the incredible machines, the cutting-edge technology, the mind-bending maneuvers. But let's be brutally honest for a moment. Planes don't pull 9Gs, people do. The aircraft is merely the instrument. The pilot is the engine, the brain, the vulnerable flesh and blood core of the entire operation. Listen closely to the breathing pattern in this Hornet cockpit, captured during a particularly violent engagement. It's a short, sharp hiss-in, followed by a long, guttural grunt-out. That's the anti-G straining maneuver, AGSM, a critical technique every student pilot learns on day one, a survival skill that becomes second nature. Do it wrong even for a second, and you'll wake up moments later, disoriented, perhaps drooling on the glass of your helmet, having experienced G-lock, G-induced loss of consciousness. It's terrifying, it's disorienting, and in combat it's almost certainly fatal. But do it right, perform the AGSM perfectly, and you still pay a price. You still leave the cockpit with burst capillaries in your cheeks, tiny red pinpricks where the blood vessels simply couldn't handle the pressure. Your vision might be blurry, your head pounding. The pilot in this clip, the one who just outturned an F-15 in what can only be described as a phone booth fight, a close quarters, highly dynamic engagement, is a 34-year-old Marine major. She's 5'4", 120 pounds soaking wet, a testament to the fact that brute strength isn't the only factor. Technique and mental fortitude are paramount. After shutdown, as the adrenaline slowly recedes, she casually mentions that her wedding ring is stuck on her finger, swollen like a sausage from the immense pressure. Medics quickly measure her blood pressure, a dangerously low 90/50, a clear sign of the extreme physiological stress her body just endured. This isn't just about the immediate physical toll. Pilots undergo relentless, brutal physical training, not just to build strength, but to increase their G tolerance, to train their bodies to resist the forces that want to rip them apart. They spend hours in centrifuges, experiencing G-forces in a controlled environment, learning to recognize the onset of G-lock and how to fight it. They also battle spatial disorientation, the terrifying sensation of not knowing which way is up, especially in clouds or at night. The mental strain is equally immense, making life or death decisions in fractions of a second, with millions of dollars of equipment and potentially national security hanging in the balance. The footage we show you, it's spectacular, it's breathtaking, it's inspiring, but every single time you cheer a hard turn, every time you marvel at a vertical climb, remember the immense unseen tax on the human body. Remember the courage, the training, and the sheer will of the person in that cockpit, pushing their own physical limits to the absolute edge. They are the true heroes, the ones who make these impossible maneuvers a reality, day in and day out. It's a constant battle against physics, against the enemy, and sometimes against their own bodies. In modern air combat, the vast majority of kills happen far beyond visual range. You might never even see the enemy aircraft that targets you. So surviving that first shot, that initial missile launch, isn't just important, it's absolutely everything. It's the difference between continuing the fight and becoming another statistic. This incredible clip comes from an Israeli F-16I on a routine training hop over the vast, rugged Negev desert. Suddenly, a simulated surface-to-air missile, a digital threat but a very real warning, spikes the jet from 9 o'clock. Instantaneously, the cockpit is alive with warnings, tones blaring, lights flashing, a voice screaming, "Missile! Missile!" Without hesitation, the pilot snaps into a defensive split-S maneuver, a classic violent evasion technique. He dives 12,000 feet in a mere 6 seconds, converting altitude into raw speed and an incredibly tight turn radius. As he plummets, he deploys flares, those brilliant super-hot countermeasures designed to decoy heat-seeking missiles, hoping to lure the simulated threat away from his aircraft. Then, with the ground rushing up, he yanks the jet level, just 200 feet above the deck, hugging the terrain, effectively below every radar fence in the region. The G-meter, that critical instrument in the cockpit, pegs at 8.7 Gs and stays there for 5 straight agonizing seconds. Imagine that sustained pressure. Notice how the horizon line in the head-up display, HUD, tilts a dramatic 45 degrees. That's not for show. It's a deliberate tactic. By rolling the aircraft and turning, the pilot is using the Earth's gravity to assist his turn, effectively converting vertical energy into horizontal turn performance. It's a sophisticated application of energy management, designed to maximize the aircraft's turn rate and throw off the missile's tracking. By the time the simulated missile would have impacted, had it been real, the F-16 is already 3 miles away and accelerating, a ghost in the desert sky. One viewer commented, "That looked like a video game." And it's true, the speed, the violence, the sudden changes in direction, it often does. But this isn't a game. This is why those pilots spend thousands of hours training, why they push their bodies and machines to the limit. It's why they live to see their kids graduate, to come home to their families. It's not just about avoiding a missile. It's about understanding missile kinematics, radar warning receivers, chaff and flare deployment strategies, and the precise aerodynamic limits of their aircraft. They are constantly analyzing the threat, predicting its trajectory, and executing a perfect high-stakes ballet of evasion. Every fraction of a second counts. Every decision is critical, and the margin for error is non-existent. Finally, let's wrap things up with a maneuver that still sparks heated debates among flight instructors. A vertical rolling scissors between 2 F-18 Super Hornets high over the Atlantic. This isn't just a dogfight. It's a high-stakes chess match played at incredible speeds and altitudes. In a rolling scissors, energy bleeds fast. You're constantly trading altitude for airspeed and vice versa, trying to get into a position of advantage. The first pilot to misjudge altitude, airspeed, or nose position, even by a hair, dies. It's that simple, that brutal. Here, both jets are locked in a desperate vertical dance, trading slices and passes until they're doing a mere 90 knots. That's walking speed for a fighter jet. 1,500 feet up, the aggressor, pushing hard, tries a high-speed yo-yo, a classic maneuver to gain separation and then dive back in with energy. But the defender incredibly pirouettes using differential thrust, manipulating the thrust from each engine independently to pivot the aircraft almost on a dime. This allows him to stay inside the aggressor's turn, to maintain the advantage, and then in a blink, reverses for a simulated gun kill, all while barely moving at 80 knots. It's a testament to the F-18's incredible low-speed handling and the pilot's mastery of energy management. The entire fight, from initial merge to simulated kill, lasted a blistering 42 seconds. Yet in that short span, both jets burned an astonishing 4,000 pounds of fuel. That's enough to power a small car for weeks. And pulled an average of 6.8 Gs. It's an energy-intensive, physically draining ballet of destruction. After the merge, both pilots land, taxi back to the tarmac, and climb out, their helmets still fogged from the exertion and sweat. The victor, instead of boasting, simply shrugs. "I just kept the lift vector on him and waited for the mistake," he says with a quiet humility. That humility, that understated professionalism, is absolutely standard in this community. In a world where ego can literally kill you, where overconfidence leads to fatal errors, nobody brags. They analyze, they learn, they respect the skill of their adversary, and they constantly strive to be better. Dogfighting is an art form, a perishable skill that requires constant practice, adaptation, and an unwavering commitment to learning. It's about understanding the geometry of pursuit, the nuances of energy management, and the psychological battle that unfolds in seconds. These pilots are not just flying. They are executing a deadly, beautiful dance where the only prize is survival and air superiority. If you felt your chair shake, if your heart pounded during that last incredible roll, then you absolutely need to hit that subscribe button right now for more uncut cockpit footage every single week. We're constantly bringing you the most intense, most educational, and most awe-inspiring aerial combat content out there. And hey, we want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us what wild maneuver you'd attempt in a simulator, the one you'd never ever try in real life. We love hearing your thoughts and theories. Also, make sure to check the links in the description for longer, exclusive pilot interviews, where these incredible professionals break down their experiences in even more detail. What's up next, you ask? We're taking a deep dive into the F-35's classified helmet, a piece of technology so advanced it redefines what a pilot can see and do. Want to be the first to know when that drops? Then smash that notification bell so you don't miss a single second of the action. Every single clip you've seen today, every heart-stopping maneuver, every impossible recovery, was captured by pilots who volunteered to strap a jet to their back and gamble against the very laws of physics. Some of these incredible feats happened just last month. Others are years old but only now cleared for public eyes, declassified for us to marvel at. But all of them, every single one, serves as a powerful reminder that air combat, despite all the technological advancements, is still, at its core, a knife fight in a phone booth. It's just a knife fight that happens at 200 miles an hour, 50,000 feet up, with weapons that can kill from hundreds of miles away. So the next time you hear that unmistakable roar overhead, that thunderous sound of freedom and power, don't just glance up. Look up and wonder, is that a routine training sortie, a simple flight across the sky? Or is it another entry in the never-ending, high-stakes contest between man, machine, and the unforgiving sky that constantly tries to rip them apart? It's a question worth asking.